Hello everybody, it's time for another action movie review. Today I'm going to review Hot Fuzz, starring Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. It was co-written by Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, and it was directed by Edgar Wright. The story revolves around Nicholas Angel, played by Simon Pegg, who is a big city cop from London. Due to the urging of his commanding officers, including the chief inspector, which I assume in England is the chief of police, because he's doing his job so well, he's gotten every medal and he's gotten every accommodation you can possibly get on the job, and he's pretty much seen everything there is to see and knows how to handle any situation. He's pretty much the top cop in London. But his commanding officers don't want him in London anymore because he's making the rest of the force look bad. So they decide to ship him out to a small village called Sanford, which is very far away from the big city from what he's used to. During his first night there, he decides to go to a pub where he drinks cranberry juice, and he busts up the local teens for underage drinking, which was allowed by the bartenders because they insist it was for the greater good. That becomes a plot point later. Later on, he ends up bringing in some of the teenagers and also brings in Nick Frost, who was attempting to drink and drive that night and had him sleep in the cell. He went home and he returned to the station next morning to officially start his first day, where he discovers that the drunk driver he arrested would be in fact Nick Frost, who would be his new partner. Nick Frost plays the character Danny Butterman, by the way. I forgot to mention that earlier. And pretty much they uncover a plot where there are many accidental deaths going on in the sleepy little village of Sanford, and slowly Nick Angel starts to figure out that it's not accidents, and there's a big murder mystery going on, and then pretty much it leads up to exactly what the trailers and the cover suggest, that a balls to the wall, ball out action towards the end of the film. I have to say, this is the second British comedy feature film I've ever seen. The first one was by the same guys. It was Shaun of the Dead, and I have to say, even though for me personally some of the language barriers is gonna be hard to get used to. Again, if you're not aware, people in England speak English differently than the way we do. Therefore, some words and phrases could escape me. That was until I watched it the second time, and then I got some of the jokes of what they were talking about. But overall, it's a hysterical film. The action sequences are definitely terrific. Pretty much every stereotype of an action film you could possibly imagine, they attempted to throw in this movie. Two action films in particular seems to be brought up often: Point Break and Bad Boys 2. For some reason, so I guess it's safe to assume it's the filmmaker's favorite action films, and definitely pretty much all the action sequences are a combination of both, and the plot points are a combination of both are thrown in here as well. Now, the reason why Simon Pegg decided to make this second film with these people into an action film, he stated that every country in the world except the UK has made an action film with cops. It's time the UK had made one as well, and therefore he gave us Hot Fuzz. I was certainly pleased by it. Like I said, some of the dialogue will be lost on a lot of people. Like I said earlier, they speak English differently in England. Like some of the phrases will be different. But for the most part, you pretty much get what's going on if you read the body language and pretty much find out where the direction of the dialogue is going. The movie moves very fast, and it's kind of hard to get used to at first. But once you really get into the movie, you sort of go with the flow and understand everything that's going on. If I could give it a rating, I'd probably give it like 5 stars out of 5. It's definitely one of my favorite comedy action films right now. I definitely recommend you rent it before you buy it. And if somebody buys it for you as a gift, keep it and watch it and cherish it. It's pretty much a good film. Now, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg are teaming up again for another film that's supposed to be coming out maybe sometime this year called Paul. And instead, Nick Frost will play the lead and Simon Pegg will be the sidekick, unlike the vice versa. And hopefully it does well. And hopefully somewhere down the line they'll make a Hot Fuzz too. But only time will tell. Well, that's all I got to say about that.